Family declared me their default designated driver, but they're angry I refused. Am I the a-hole for ruining my family's New Year's Eve by refusing to join the fun because I don't want to be the designated driver again? Hey, Reddit, 26 female, need some serious perspective. I'm starting to think I might be the a-hole, but I still feel like I'm in the right. Every New Year's Eve, my family has a big party at my aunt and uncle's house, and every year without fail, I end up being the designated driver. Don't get me wrong, I love my family, but it's starting to bug me. It's been like this since I was 19, even before I was legally allowed to drink. I don't drink much, maybe a glass of wine or a beer, but I don't get plastered. I'm fine with driving people home if they need it, but for the past few years, everyone expects me to not drink so I can drive them back. Every year, it's the same. Oh, can you drive? You're not drinking anyway. I always say yes because I don't want to let anyone down. Fast forward to this year's New Year's Eve. I told my family ahead of time I wasn't going to be the designated driver anymore. I just wanted to enjoy the night, have a couple of drinks, and not be responsible for getting everyone home. I even told my cousin, who usually gets really sloshed, that I wasn't driving this year, and she was fine with it. When I got to the party, it was the usual chaos. People were drinking, laughing, and having a good time. I was enjoying myself, but around 11, my cousin came over and asked if I was ready to drive everyone home. I reminded her, I'm not driving tonight. I'm here to enjoy the party. She looked at me like I was crazy and said, come on, you always drive. Don't be a bitch. Which what the F? I tried to explain calmly that I wasn't being a bitch, just that I wasn't going to be the chauffeur anymore. Then my aunt overheard and pulled me aside. She lectured to me saying, we all agreed last year you'd be driving. You know how much we rely on you. Everyone else is too tipsy, and Ubering is so unsafe. Just drive this one time for the family. I felt a ton of pressure but refused. I told her I'm not their chauffeur and wasn't going to do it again just because no one else could figure out their own ride. My aunt got upset saying I was being selfish and that we are family. She said, I'm the only one who doesn't get too drunk, so it makes sense for me to help out. I told her I had already had 3 beers, so I wasn't even legally supposed to drive myself. That's when I snapped. I told them it's not my job to be their designated driver every year just because I'm the only one who doesn't get blackout drunk. They needed to figure out their own rides this time. Then I got up and left. I felt bad walking out, but I didn't want to be a doormat anymore. I spent the rest of New Year's Eve at home watching Netflix and eating leftover pizza with my boyfriend. My family texted me calling me dramatic, selfish, and saying I ruined the night. They said I was being super sensitive and that everyone was disappointed in me. Everyone's demanding an apology out of me even now. And by the way, I got home perfectly safe by Uber. But anyways, Reddit, am I the a-hole? No. OP. Of course you're not the a-hole, and you shouldn't be apologizing to any of these people. They simply took you for granted for years and you just get tired of it. If everybody else has the right to get drunk and have fun, so do you, even if you don't get drunk. And being a designated driver shouldn't be you just because you are the one that doesn't drink as much as them. And if they think that that makes you the designated driver by default, they are very wrong and they are the ones that are being selfish. So no, not the, and I think you should let them know now that next year, you won't be driving anyone once again. So they better figure it out. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's check out the community comments. MC Susie says, you are not the ole. Your family is gross, but why didn't your boyfriend spend New Year's Eve with you? And OP responds, he's a nurse and had a shift that cut into the party. He could have potentially come, but he was exhausted and wanted to go straight home and take a shower while he waited for me to get back. Another reason I didn't want to be the designated driver. I didn't want to stay out too late because I wanted to see my boyfriend. Reasonable Sale 8611 says, is this a joke? If they have to Uber home, it ruins their New Year's Eve. But if you have to watch everyone get drunk while you drink soda and then you have to drive everyone home, then your New Year's Eve is fine? None of these self-centered people figured out that having to be the designated driver to your entire family every single New Year's Eve is probably not that much fun for you? Of course, you are not the a-hole. Did you even have to ask? This is ragebait, girl. And OP responds, I'm sorry for the ragebait. My family, parents specifically, were starting to get to me. My mom refuses to speak to me until I send an apology text, and I honestly started to feel a little childish. My best friend is obsessed with Reddit and she thought writing this would be a good idea for me to get advice from someone who isn't biased like my friends or boyfriend. One Warthog 3063 says, not the a-hole. I would have said nothing and simply left after the first cousin called me a bitch, and I'd simply start leaving any family gathering when the rest start to get sloshed. Say, I'm going to go home. I feel a headache coming on to the host. Then leave before they can reply. Additional information from Ops comments. I agree with you all that say I should spend New Year's Eve somewhere else, but at the same time, I feel like this is tearing a hole between me and my family, and that's the last thing I want. My sister was on my side after hearing both sides of the story. She lives on the other side of the country and is pissed off for my sake. Lol. My parents, however, are embarrassed, and I feel bad about that. Being the designated driver was not something that happened right after I got my driver's license. I'm someone who struggles with a lot of anxiety, and driving caused that for a long time. I pushed off getting my license until I was 18 because of it. They didn't ask me to be the designated driver until I was 19. And at first, I felt kind of cool because I was being the responsible adult and helping people I loved out. But it quickly got old when I had to drive back and forth multiple times to get everyone home and no one offered to pay for gas. Also, my family loves to get tipsy at things like parties, football games, barbecues, etc. I decided young I wouldn't be a big drinker because I always found the behavior disgusting, especially watching how mean my dad could get when he drank too much. The community agrees that OP is not the and that maybe she should stop going to these events or family gatherings where everybody gets drunk. And from the additional information, it sounds like that is the decision that OP has made. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So update, hello. Before I get on to that, I want to address some popular questions from my last post. Some people got confused and asked similar questions, so I thought it might be nice to answer them here. How do I give everyone a ride home? My family lives about an hour and a half from my aunt's house, so I'd fill my car with everyone I could and take them home. The next day, they'd take their spouses' cars to pick up the ones they left. Stupid, I know. How did I get home? I Ubered. Why was my cousin asking to leave at 11? She was drunk and probably had no idea what time it was. She just came up to me and started rambling and then said that my aunt overheard us and she was a little more sober. So she pulled me aside and told me I couldn't just say no when everyone was already drunk, which sparked everything. People planned on staying longer and had expected me to do the same. I just ended up leaving around 11:30ish because I was mad and wanted to spend time with someone who loves and respects me. Now it's update time. I ended up sending a text to our family group chat, including those who didn't make it to the party but heard about what happened. I'll copy and paste what I said here. Quote, "Hey everyone, I'm not going to apologize for what happened on New Year's Eve. I told you all well in advance that I wasn't going to be the designated driver this year, and I expected you to respect that. I'm not anyone's personal chauffeur, and I'm done being treated like I'm responsible for everyone else's lack of planning. When cousin called me a bitch for not driving, that wasn't called for. And aunt name lecturing me about being selfish and ruining the night because I chose to enjoy myself instead of taking on that responsibility again. I love you all, but I can't be your punching bag anymore. I'm not going to keep letting myself be the one who sacrifices for everyone else's convenience. I've done it for years and I'm done. Next year, I think I'll be spending New Year's somewhere else. I wish you all safe rides home and hope you'll be able to figure something out. I'll be taking some space from everyone and hope you will understand." I then made the painful decision of blocking my parents, who have been calling me terrible names and making me feel like complete crap since this happened. I never realized how dark my childhood was with all the gaslighting. My parents are probably the reason I have such severe anxiety. Also, I have no idea how any of my other family members have responded to my text. I blocked everyone who went to the party or asked me to be the designated driver and then removed myself from the conversation. My sister and brother are on my side and equally pissed off at our family, so I still got them at least. I really want to thank you all. I've always known something was off with my family, but I never realized how much I was taken for granted, how unloved I felt until now. Thank you for helping me realize that I'm worth more. And to end on a positive note, my boyfriend is now my fiancé. A few days after my post, he proposed. His original plan was to take me to see some cutesy light display in our town after I got home and proposed there, which made my heart melt a little since I knew he was so tired after working, lol. But when he saw me walking crying, he read the room and switched things up. When I was feeling better, he took me to dinner and proposed there. I have no idea how the wedding will go or if my parents will be there, but I'm excited to spend it with the people who love and appreciate me. Well, OP, good for you. You stood up to your family and you told them how things are going to be from now on. Your brother and sister absolutely support you and your boyfriend proposed to you. So congratulations, and he is wishing you all the best. Thanks for sharing, OP. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the a-hole, and it's by user OKNectarine791. Am I the a-hole for lecturing my daughter for paying someone to do her chore? I'm a single dad to a 15-year-old girl. We live in an area where we get a lot of snow every winter. Around the time she was 11, I taught her how to shovel, and usually we do it together. We have a decent-sized driveway and walkway. Sometimes, if it's too icy, I'll do the whole thing myself. Over the weekend, we got some unexpected snow while I was at work. I called my daughter and asked that she shovel out a bit of the driveway so I'll have room to park and get out the next day as well as shovel the walkway and steps. She said, yes. When I came home, the entire driveway was shoveled and the walkway and steps were cleared perfectly. I thanked her and said she did a good job. She then told me that when she went out to shovel, she saw our neighbor, who's a couple years older than her, was shoveling his walkway. She offered him $40 of her own money to shovel for her and he accepted. I told her that I had asked her to shovel, not the neighbor, and it was something assigned to her. She asked what the big deal was as it got done. She also pointed out when she has her own house someday, she can easily just pay someone to do it so she doesn't have to do it. I told her she wasn't in trouble, but next time it snowed, she was helping me shovel. And going forward, if I asked her to do it, she was expected to do it. She seemed a little disappointed but didn't argue. I was talking to my mom about the situation and she told me I completely overreacted and pointed out my daughter has a point. The job got done and it shouldn't matter how it gets done as long as it does. And the neighbor kid willingly did it, which I confirmed with him later that he was happy to do it for the extra cash. My mom said I should have praised my daughter's initiative. So now I'm left wondering if I was the fool lecturing my daughter on this. Well, yeah. I think you're the what is the real lesson you're trying to teach your daughter? I would assume it's responsibility. Well, she got the job done, didn't she? And she used her own money to do it. Now if 5 minutes later she comes back and says, Dad, you owe me $40, then yeah, that's a big no. But she did do what you asked. She just didn't do it how you wanted her to do it. I would have actually said congrats, that's creative problem solving and nobody got taken advantage of or exploited. She did it through a third party and that third party was happy to do the job because they got paid. So you're the a-hole OP. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section and now let's check out the community comments. HFace84 says, you're the a-hole. I don't even get your point. You tasked her with shoveling the driveway and she completed the task through money instead of labor, which a totally normal way that adults accomplish things. Why are you adamant that she do the actual shoveling? Potter Squash says, you're the a-hole. Look. It wasn't until you said, quote, it was something assigned to her, end quote, that I realized it was assigned to her and not a task you wanted done. I think you weren't ever clear this was a chore, something that, yes, can be passed off, but there's value in doing yourself versus a task, something that just needs to get done. Blue Set says, quote, usually we do it together, end quote. So she can and does shovel the snow sometimes? Just this one time, she didn't feel like doing the physical labor. Shoveling snow is tiring for some reason. So she used her own means to ensure the task was completed. And you're mad at her? Did you even ask her why she felt the need to do so? Yeah. You're the a-hole. Next time, she just won't tell you someone helped out. Peach Sparkles 586 says, honestly, I'm impressed. Girl knows how to delegate. If she used your money, there would be a definite issue. But she even used her own money. Shoveling snow sucks. Your mom's right. I would just be happy it was done and your daughter did show initiative and ingenuity. If you want to do it together, that's great, but don't punish her for being smart. You're the a-hole. And Tea Time 9665 says, I mean, you're the a-hole. She used her own money in a smart way to get what she wanted done. If she asked you for the money, then, yeah, that's bad. But it's her money and can use it however she likes. It's your job to feed her and clothe her. And yet you spend money to buy food at restaurants and buy pre-made clothes. Right? Edit. To those asking, she got the money from babysitting. She works for a different neighbor twice a week and is paid $18 an hour. We've had talks about money constantly over the years ever since she was old enough to receive birthday and Christmas money and to decide how to spend it. She knows the value of the dollar, and once you spend money, it's gone and to think before you buy. She says to her, this was worth the $40. And to those asking why it bugged me, I thank you because I wasn't even sure myself. I think I just want to make sure that she has these skills, but I also understand people's points that she has the skill and she can now decide to use it if she's in a situation like this one. So the community agrees that OP was the a-hole. Now let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. I want to thank everyone who talked some sense into me. You all were right. It really doesn't matter how it gets done, as well as the fact that, yes, there are times I contract out work off my own. So it's unfair to expect otherwise of her. One of my main priorities is that she's able to do things on her own. I won't always be around to help and I want her to be independent. But I realize now this was her being independent and getting something done just in a different way. I spoke with her and apologized for lecturing her. I also added I was proud of her for taking initiative and explained why I reacted to the way I did. Additionally, I thanked her for getting it done regardless of how it was. She forgave me and everything is good now. We did have another talk about money, but she insists that's how she wanted to spend it. So I'm going to leave it alone for now. But she says she appreciates me admitting I was wrong. I told her next time, she can either hire the neighbor again or do it herself. I don't care as long as it's what they both want. Some people said I should force her to put more into savings. She already puts a good amount away on her own. I'm going to continue to let her decide what works for her. Also, to those going to either extreme that either one, I was wrong for having her shovel because she's a girl, or two, assuming I'm only making her do chores and expecting her to do them herself because she's a girl, you're wrong. I do everything that I ask her to do, and I also occasionally contract out tasks. I hire someone to clean my house twice a month, so I'd be a huge hypocrite. I don't care if my daughter hires people when she's older or if she does it herself. I acknowledged I was wrong here, and I apologized. This was a genuine mistake on my part and not anything malicious where I expect more or less of my daughter because she's a girl. I think it's a positive update. You owned up to your mistake. You apologized to your daughter and things are right, and actually that is the right attitude. Just owning it and saying, I'm sorry, I made a mistake.